NightJohn by Gary Paulson is set in the South before the Civil War. The story is narrated by Sarney, a slave on the Waller plantation. NightJohn is a slave who arrives at the Waller plantation and begins to teach Sarney to read. Delia is also a slave. She is the person who raises Sarney and all of the other children who are slaves on the plantation. Clell Waller is the plantation owner and the master on the plantation. He is responsible for all of the slaves and all of the people in the story. At the beginning of the story, we learn that Sarney is without her parents because her birthing mother was sold away. Her mom was sold because Sarney turned out to be a girl instead of a boy. As a young child, she was left behind on the Waller plantation to be taken care of by Delia. Delia's job was to take care of all of the young ones until they were old enough to work in the field. Many believed that Sarney was dumb because she was so quiet, but she was actually just always listening. One day, a new slave named NightJohn is brought in. He is brought in running in front of the horse, covered in sweat, with a shackle and a rope tied around his neck. After arriving at the plantation, Waller unties the rope and using a whip drives him straight into the fields to work. Almost all of the slaves on the plantation worked in the fields. The slaves were worked mercilessly day and night. They were allowed only a short break around noon to eat while they were standing. If they came in at night, they were so tired they fell asleep as soon as they ate. Although Sarney was too young to work in the fields, she was given a job. One of her jobs included spitting tobacco juice on the roses to keep bugs away. Because the rose bushes were near the house, she often heard things from inside. Sarney was very curious, and she became even more curious about the new slave, NightJohn. He was different than the other slaves who worked in the field. After working one night, he asked for tobacco, offering her a trade. Curious about what NightJohn could possibly offer her after coming in with nothing, she asked what the trade was. NightJohn told her he knows letters. Although Sarney doesn't know what letters are, she thinks they sound like something she would like to learn. The first night, NightJohn teaches Sarney the letter A and the sounds that go with it. Over time, NightJohn teaches Sarney whenever he isn't too tired from the fields or when he gets a chance. Sarney begins to learn how to put the letters into words. Because of her excitement, Sarney begins to read everything in sight. She traces the letters into the dirt that she's learned, and she tries to read things off of packages around the plantation. This causes problems for her when she's caught by Delia. Delia knows that if Sarney is caught reading or tracing letters, she will be severely punished by Mr. Waller. She tries to tell Sarney that tracing the letters and reading aloud is something that she should forget about, but Sarney cannot. NightJohn taught Sarney letters whenever he could. In all, he taught her 7 different letters and the sounds that went along with them. He taught her different words that could be made out of the letters she learned. Because of her excitement, she wrote the letters and said them everywhere. She accidentally got caught, and this led to problems for NightJohn. He was punished for teaching Sarni to read. After being caught by Mr. Waller and being punished, NightJohn continued to teach Sarni how to read. She thought it would be a bad idea, but he told her that no one could take away what she learned, and that he was going to teach her. Will Sarni get into trouble again? Will NightJohn be caught? Will he get his freedom back? Will Sarni learn more letters? Find out in NightJohn by Gary Paulson.